York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year. But there, hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
When I relocated to New York City at the age of 13, I found myself living with Sean Diddy Combs for a year, an experience that exposed me to a world far beyond my years. It was a time of curiosity, immersion in a lifestyle that was both fascinating and overwhelming. As a young teenager, I struggled to comprehend the complexities of what I was witnessing. The environment was intense, filled with moments that left me questioning my place in it. Now, as a father, I reflect on whether I would ever allow my own child to be part of what some called Diddy Camp. My answer is a resolute no. At 13, I wasn't there to revel in the nightlife or frequent clubs, places I was far too young to be in. The situations I encountered forced me to make difficult choices about my identity and the person I wanted to become, decisions no child should have to face. Clive Davis, a towering figure in the music industry, adds another layer to this narrative. In his memoir, The Soundtrack of My Life, Davis openly discussed his bisexuality, a revelation made at the age of 80. In a conversation with Katie Couric, he expressed hope that his openness would foster greater understanding of sexuality. This disclosure, while significant, is only a small part of the larger story surrounding his influence. For years, Usher, another prominent artist, maintained silence about his early experiences in the industry, particularly his time with Diddy and Davis. When he finally began to speak out, his revelations were not just surprising, they were deeply unsettling. Usher's connection to Diddy began when he was a teenager navigating the music world. Diddy, already a magnetic and enigmatic figure, was a central presence in Usher's early career. Living in close proximity to him, Usher witnessed things that left lasting emotional scars, behaviors, and environments no young person should be exposed to. These weren't just fleeting moments. They were experiences that shaped his understanding of the industry. Beyond Diddy, Clive Davis played a pivotal role. Known for launching the careers of countless legends, Davis was more than an executive to Usher. He was a mentor to Diddy, guiding him in ways that extended far beyond music production. According to Usher, the dynamic between Diddy and Davis wasn't solely about creating hit records. It was about control, about molding young artists into compliant figures who served the interests of a larger empire. Usher observed the subtle instructions, the power plays, and the ways in which artists were kept dependent. This wasn't just about nurturing talent, it was about shaping individuals into products, ensuring they remained loyal to the system. While many artists were too entangled or intimidated to speak out, Usher carried these observations with him, even as he remained silent for years. The narrative extends beyond Usher's personal experiences to the broader influence of Clive Davis. Davis's career is storied, with a track record of working with iconic artists like Janis Joplin, Bruce Springsteen, Aerosmith, and Pink Floyd. His influence at Columbia Records made it a powerhouse, with artists like Aerosmith referencing him in their lyrics as the man who would make them stars. Yet his career wasn't without controversy. In 1973, Davis faced a major scandal when he was fired from Columbia for allegedly misappropriating $94,000 to fund his son's bar mitzvah. That same year, he was linked to a drug trafficking investigation involving Columbia and Paramount Records with allegations of money laundering tied to an international heroin ring. Though never formally charged, the rumors cast a shadow over his reputation. Despite these setbacks, Davis rebounded by founding Arista Records, and in 1993, he partnered with Diddy to create Bad Boy Records. To the public, this was a strategic alliance between a seasoned executive and a rising hip-hop star. However, insiders suggest the partnership was more complex, with Davis providing Diddy a framework for wielding power and influence. This wasn't just about music, it was about controlling narratives and shaping young artists to fit the industry's demands. Usher, who was closely tied to this world as a teenager, later described the environment as disturbing, hinting at the psychological toll it took. Davis's reputation as a calculating figure precedes him. While publicly celebrated as a tastemaker, those within the industry describe him as cold and manipulative, someone who understood how to maintain control over artists and narratives. His mentorship of Diddy wasn't just about business acumen. It was about teaching him how to dominate, how to isolate and mold young talent, and how to ensure loyalty within a system that thrived on compliance. Usher witnessed this firsthand, observing how artists were groomed not just for stardom, but for dependency, becoming cogs in a machine that prioritized profit over personal growth. The darker side of Davis's legacy is further complicated by his ability to navigate scandals with apparent impunity. Despite financial misconduct and whispers of deeper involvement in illicit activities, he consistently emerged unscathed, securing new positions of power and influence. Some speculate that his resilience stemmed from connections beyond the music industry, possibly even ties to intelligence agencies. Music, after all, is a powerful tool for shaping culture and public opinion, and a figure like Davis, with access to the biggest names in the industry, would have been ideally positioned to wield such influence. Usher's story, however, is not just about Davis and Diddy, it's about the personal impact of being thrust into this world at a young age. At 14, he was sent to live with Diddy, a decision that placed him in an environment rife with inappropriate and potentially abusive situations. Insiders have suggested that Usher's time with Diddy was not just unsettling but traumatic, with some accounts claiming he was hospitalized due to the intensity of his experiences. These stories, long whispered in industry circles, were quickly suppressed, leaving Usher to carry the weight of what he endured. What makes this narrative even more troubling is how Usher, years later, became part of the same system that harmed him. As a mentor to a young Justin Bieber, Usher took on a guardianship role, guiding the teenage star through the industry. Yet he made the fateful decision to introduce Bieber to Diddy, a man whose influence Usher knew intimately. Despite Diddy's earlier attempts to connect with Bieber being rebuffed by his management, Usher's involvement opened the door. This raises painful questions. Why would someone who had suffered under Diddy's influence place another young artist in his orbit? Was it pressure from the industry, a sense of obligation, or a belief that things might be different? Whatever the reasoning, the consequences were profound. Bieber's early interactions with Diddy have since been scrutinized, particularly in light of recent allegations against the music mogul. Old videos show Diddy joking about Bieber's silence regarding their time together, while Bieber himself appears uncomfortable discussing their relationship. These moments, once dismissed as playful, now carry a darker undertone, especially as lawsuits and investigations paint a picture of Diddy's alleged predatory behavior. The gifts, the lavish lifestyle, the promises of stardom all appear as grooming tactics designed to draw young artists in and maintain control. The allegations against Diddy have grown increasingly serious. Since late 2023, over 100 lawsuits have been filed, accusing him of abuse, trafficking, and assault, with many claims involving minors. Cassie Ventura's case, supported by a 2016 surveillance video showing Diddy attacking her, marked a turning point, shattering his carefully curated public image. Other accusers, including Crystal McKinney and April Lamprose, have detailed allegations of drugging, coercion, and trafficking, while producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones described a pattern of harassment and manipulation. Federal raids on Diddy's properties in March 2024, followed by his arrest and conviction on charges related to transportation for prostitution, underscored the gravity of these claims. Yet the question remains, how did this behavior persist for decades without consequence? Insiders like Freddie P. and Gene Deal have long raised concerns about Diddy's conduct, from his treatment of young artists to his personal relationships. Deal, a former bodyguard, recounted disturbing incidents, including Diddy's alleged mistreatment of his mother, Janice Combs, and inappropriate behavior in front of others. These accounts, though unproven, highlight a pattern of control and secrecy that extended beyond professional boundaries. The industry's complicity is perhaps the most damning aspect of this story. Figures like Clive Davis, with their immense influence, helped create a culture where powerful individuals were shielded from accountability. At a private dinner attended by Usher, Nayo, Jimmy Iovine, and Diddy, an alleged assault on Cassie went unaddressed, with no one intervening or speaking out. This silence, from men who were mentors and leaders in the industry, speaks to the depth of Diddy's control and the system that enabled him. For Justin Bieber, the revelations about Diddy are reportedly devastating. Now an adult, he grapples with the reality of his early years under Diddy's influence, a time when he was just 15 and vulnerable. The dream weekend Diddy once described now appears suspect, especially as allegations of trafficking and abuse mount. Bieber's silence, punctuated by moments of discomfort in old interviews, suggests a struggle to reconcile his past with the present.